Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is not to be confused with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was actually the third Xenoblade Chronicles because Xenoblade Chronicles X was the second Xenoblade Chronicles after Xenoblade Chronicles. Wait, what was I talking about? Alright, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is coming to us in all its glory later this year in September. We're going to talk a little bit about what we know so far, and why Xenoblade Chronicles 3 can be your very first Xenoblade if you haven't had the chance to give this amazing series a go up to this point. And this video comes courtesy of Sakuraco, a traditional Japanese snack box filled to the brim with the most delicious of goodies, but more about that in a bit. For now, let's get on with the video. Seeing as the game has only just been announced with a trailer a smidge over 2 minutes long, details are pretty scarce, but the trailer isn't the only piece of information we have. Tetsuya Takahashi, president of Monolith Soft, Xeno series creator and all-round legend, shared a letter introducing the game shortly after the trailer aired. He writes, "Just over 4 years since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 1.5 years since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, we now bring to you news regarding the latest game from Monolith Soft, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. As the name indicates, it's the third installment in the Xenoblade Chronicles series. We are currently making final adjustments to ensure we create the best game possible based on everything we've learned from the past entries in the series." Now, this would seem to suggest that they truly are treating Xenoblade Chronicles X as its own series and not directly tying it to Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2 or 3. This has been hinted at before, namely that there may be two separate series, with the X denoting titles that focus more on exploration and the narrative of the world rather than the strong character narrative focus of the numbered titles. But let's get back to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The key visual features a broken greatsword of Mechonis and the body of the Urian Titan with a gaping wound. I imagine everyone who saw the trailer was quite surprised by the final scene. What is this visual hinting at? I can't reveal that just yet. What I can tell you is that this visual was conceived quite some time ago. More precisely speaking, we came up with it sometime between the end of development of Xenoblade Chronicles and the beginning of development of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so it's not something we recently added to the series. This should come as no surprise to people who know the kind of creator Tetsuya Takahashi is. Playing the long game and planning things out many years in advance is kind of his speciality. In any case, it would seem that the worlds of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2 have collided to create the brand new world of Ionius. Ionius? I think it's Ionius. It also appears that quite a lot of time has passed since the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, and that there are at least two warring factions fighting for survival on Ionius. And just before we move on to the most important part of Takahashi's letter, here's a little message from today's sponsor, Sakuraco. Hey Jay. Yeah? Have you tried this new Sakura thing? Way ahead of ya. Alright, you're gonna have to tell me where you got all of that stuff, but I wasn't talking about Cardcaptor Sakura, I was talking about Sakuraco, the traditional Japanese snack box. Sakuraco is a traditional Japanese snack box filled with authentic artisan Japanese goodies. Each month you'll get a box full of Japanese teas, traditional snacks, and kitchenware steeped in Japanese culture. Sakuraco personally curate a selection of Japanese sweets, snacks, and teas from local makers in Japan each and every month before jet-setting them straight to your door. It's Sakuraco's goal for each of their subscribers to experience authentic Japanese tea time no matter where you are in the world. A quick note on this one too, from personal experience, the shipping has been excellent. Everything is packed well and the speed at which these boxes arrive to my door in Australia from Japan never ceases to amaze me. This just means I get to devour my favourite snacks all the sooner. This sweet Sakura bread lasted about 3 seconds after it arrived. It was so good. The Sakura jelly was quite an experience as well. There's actual Sakura petals inside this delightfully jiggly jelly. Along with Sakuraco's goal of wanting everyone to be able to experience its traditional Japanese tea time, they're also working hard to support local Japanese snack makers, which has been very important, particularly in the last couple of years. One of the things I remember vividly from my time in Japan is all of the kiosks and booths and pop-up shops where you can actually watch candies and sweets being made right in front of you, and now you can get those very same treats delivered to you anywhere in the world. There's no need to be afraid of what's in the box either. They're all Japanese of course, but accompanying them is a 24-page cultural guide booklet which details every snack in the box and gives great cultural context for what you're about to snack on. Now I should say if you'd like to give Sakuraco a try, but let's be honest. When you want to give Sakuraco a try, follow the link in the video description and use code JRPG to get $5 off your first order. That's JAYRPG and you get $5 off. That link and the discount code is also on screen now, and I'll also pop them in a pinned comment below. So thanks to Sakuraco, go check that out, and now, on with the video. Just before the ad break, I said the next part of Takahashi's letter was the most important, and here it is. We believe the game will be enjoyable for both those who've played Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as well as those who will be playing a Xenoblade Chronicles game for the first time. When Takahashi says this, he means it, just like he meant it when he said something similar about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I know for a fact that newcomers could jump into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 without having played or finished Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and enjoy the hell out of it. I know because you're currently listening to someone who did just that. I played a bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 prior to 2, but I did not finish it or have any knowledge of the events that would later tie into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 towards the end. I could talk for a million years about the misguided way fans of many different games often unintentionally gatekeep the latest entries from potential newcomers. I say unintentional because they think they're being helpful, but all they are really doing is dissuading someone from playing a game that they might enjoy based on the assumptions they've made up in their own head. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is set far into the future. For all intents and purposes, this is a new world. It follows a completely new cast of characters and has its own self-contained story to tell, and while there does appear to be some returning characters, enough time has passed and more than enough context is missing for said characters to almost be as new to returning players as they are to actual newcomers. We're all going to experience their new character arcs at the same time. The biggest thing to take away from what I'm saying is that there is a huge difference between not understanding to the point of not being able to play at all, and simply not getting the absolute most enjoyment out of a game. Trust me, you can play just about any game in any series in any order. Missing out on some references or a bit of backstory is not going to ruin the experience, especially because game developers are extremely good at onboarding new players. You have only ever played a series of games in one order, the order that you personally played them in, and you are biased as hell towards that order. You actually have no way of knowing if it was the most satisfying way of playing them. So please, as we edge closer to the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, don't try and push newcomers away. Be as welcoming as possible. We should all be encouraging people to dive into this series we love so much in any way they can. Continuing on with the letter, Takahashi says that the characters were designed by Saito, who also designed the characters for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I assume he means the main characters of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because as we all know, many different artists design characters for that game. It does make me giggle a bit though, because Know Nothings constantly criticised Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters, and then upon seeing Xenoblade Chronicles 3's characters thought it was a different artist entirely. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has possibly the most diverse set of character designs in any game ever, but the detractors only ever seem to complain about the same two over and over as if they represent the entire game. The Xenoblade Chronicles 3 characters we've seen so far don't look out of step with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at all. I mean, after all, for every Dahlia in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 there was a Morag or a Nia or an Azami. The music is also being handled by familiar faces, and if this list is anything to go by, the soundtrack is probably going to be quite extensive. Takahashi writes, "The music in this game maintains the unique Xenoblade Chronicles touch while also taking on a new challenge, namely that of integrating a flute-based melody as its motif. The flute is actually one of the key themes in this game. A variety of other elements and themes are hidden in the trailer and we'll be revealing the details a bit at a time going forward." And that about does it for what we know so far. Takahashi signs off by saying there's still some time to wait before release and he hopes we're all looking forward to it, which no doubt we all are. There are some great trailer breakdown videos up if you really want to deep dive into theories and tiny details. I'll throw some links down below so you can check them out. Once again, I just want to thank Sakuraco for sponsoring this video. Please go and check out those links below. I'd also like to thank you for watching and pressing the like button like I know you already did, and other than that, I'll see you all soon.